Our children deserve to be in environments that provide the proper ventilation so that they don't spread diseases, but also green environments on their school buses and on their public buses. Do you know, and especially children in our low-income inner city communities. What we have noticed is that those people who rely on public transportation for work or for school, that if you are a person of color, you're probably almost 6 times as likely to rely on bus service than if you're not. And so what that means is that when we're pouring resources into the clean buses, the $85 billion that's being proposed for this kind of technology, we're investing in not only the health of our community on an environmental level, but contributing to people's personal health and contributing to their opportunities to reach destinations in the labor market that they aren't able to reach.
In Milwaukee, the Hank Aaron and Oak Leaf Trail is how I first became familiar with the city. Public transportation was this conduit to community connection, and through it I've realized how transportation brings people together and expands their independence. How we get around is how we come to know our communities. And how we get around is also how we can make our communities more accessible and sustainable. Climate change will be the defining crisis of our lifetime. But combating climate change at the local level will be one of the defining opportunities. President Biden's ambitious investments in the American Jobs Plan will make much needed updates to our transportation system and clean energy economy. Doing so will create good paying jobs in Wisconsin and make our communities cleaner and healthier. We're calling on Congress to invest at least $50 billion in the adoption of electric buses for transit and school bus fleets.
I'm standing before you today wearing really 3 hats. So the first is as a father and a husband, in 2011 we got our first electric vehicle, and it was in large part because our child, who's now 12, has asthma, and it's triggered by particulate matter in the air, and we knew that getting an electric vehicle was a small way and a small contribution to changing that impact on our environment. The challenges of going from a fully gas-burning fleet to an electric one are significant, but so are the opportunities. And that brings us to the work on the county board, where I am absolutely thrilled that the BRT lines are now running with fully electric buses. It really is the future. They are cleaner, they're better in just a myriad of ways. And yet they take a significant investment in infrastructure for charging and for the vehicles themselves.
The investments that we need to make to solve the climate problem are investments that will create jobs and economic prosperity, and especially if we do it right, they can rectify some of the horrific racial injustice that we've had and racial inequality that we've had in our metro area for quite a long time. With the City County Task Force and the Transportation Mobility Committee that I'm chairing, we have some really big and exciting plans. Among those, and there are many plans, are to rapidly increase the number of bus rapid transit lines, run with electric buses that can get people very quickly to the places they need to go for their health care, for their shopping, for their jobs. We have plans to make our streets much more walkable and bikeable and safer for people in ways that would reduce emissions and also make our community more equitable. And we're going to need some help to do that. And President Biden offering the American Jobs Plan is really presenting an opportunity for substantial resources to do the big things we need to do to create a more equal, cleaner, safer, and better Milwaukee. In my view, 2 of the biggest injustices in our time are generational injustice, the future that we are inflicting on our kids because we haven't done nearly enough to stop a climate catastrophe that will make their lives immeasurably less secure, and less prosperous. And then the second injustice being racial injustice, which has festered for far too long without anything very serious being done to make things much more equal in terms of health and economics. And right now we have a golden opportunity to do something about that.
You know, Milwaukee is a different town than what it was 50 years ago when we had big manufacturing giants employing thousands of Milwaukeeans. And, you know, you didn't see people gravitating towards jobs that weren't livable wage jobs because the opportunity to earn an honest dollar and to have a path to upward mobility was so accessible. The American Jobs Plan provides that opportunity for us as people of color, as working class people across the nation to have that path to upward mobility.
Some of the benefits of the electric buses would be our drivers wouldn't have to walk through a warehouse full of 100 buses with diesel smoke in the air. They're much more ergonomical on the driver's body. We represent over 1,000 drivers in this area, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
We look forward to working with Congresswoman Moore to get the American Jobs Plan through Congress with these critical clean transportation investments included. And we look forward to working with Supervisor Clancy and other Milwaukee County Board Supervisors and Milwaukee City Alders to get these electric buses on the streets of our community.